A few years ago, my girlfriend and I moved to a small town a few hours away from Toronto. We moved from the city to slow down the pace in our lives, and we were planning to start a family. We also brought a dog, Brownie. He's a golden retriever that we had adopted from the shelter. He was about 8 years old at the time. He was a typical golden retriever, lovable and loyal. Every weekend that summer, we went to a new place to hike. The area that we lived in had as much forest to explore as you want. That Saturday, we planned to go on a short hike. We were at a friend's birthday in the afternoon, but we didn't want to miss out on our Saturday hike tradition. Sarah and I took Brownie to the new park at 7 p.m. and planned to stay there for half an hour at most, and then head back home. The park was nothing special. From what we saw on Google, it was a path that circled back to the parking lot, and it was a few kilometers long. As we walked through the trail, it was pretty nice. The leaves were just starting to turn yellow and red, which meant fall was starting. As we were at about the halfway mark, Sarah pointed to a small path that was made. It led off the main trail and it looked somewhat hidden or unused. She said, "Hey, look at that. Do you think there's anything that way?" I was already tired from being out all day, but Brownie looked like he had so much energy left. "Fine," I said. "Let's not go too far. I want to be home before it gets dark out." The path was horrible. We pushed branches and leaves out of the way. We walked for about 5 minutes and were already fed up. "Let's turn back. This trail sucks. There's nothing this way," I said. Sarah looked at me and said I was probably right. As we were about to turn and head back, Brownie started to bark and went off the path. "Come, Brownie, come. Let's go," I yelled. But he just barked about 40 yards away from the path. We went after him. I was already fed up from going on this trail. Now I had to get Brownie and put him on a leash. As we got close, we realized there was a small opening. Brownie had stopped barking and was sniffing something. Sarah got there first, and when she saw what Brownie was sniffing, she shrieked, "Brownie, you get away! What the fuck is this?" When I saw what she was looking at, I was disturbed. It was a body of what looked like to be a pig with its head cut off, obviously done by a knife, and the organs were splattered everywhere. What was weird was that the body was laid down on a large tree stump, which was much bigger than the trees in the area. When we looked around, we noticed weird engravings on the trees surrounding the enclosure. We were freaked out. I grabbed Brownie and put him on a leash. "Let's get out of here. This is messed up." We started walking towards the trail that led us here, and we heard some sticks breaking behind us towards the opening. What I saw next gives me chills to this day. Coming to the opening was about 8 people in black robes. I couldn't make out their faces as it was starting to get dark outside, but I noticed they were all men. They were all slowly walking towards the opening. For a second, we froze out of shock. I wasn't sure if they saw us or not, but I wasn't going to stay and find out. I whispered to Sarah to run, and we got out of there as fast as possible. While we ran for our lives, I looked back a few times but didn't notice anyone following us. When we got to the car, we were exhausted. I put Brownie in the car, and we got our asses out of there. We were wondering if we should call the cops or not, but we decided to not mess with whatever was in those woods. We spoke to a few of our friends in the area about the incident, but we mostly got weird looks. They didn't seem to believe us, so we kind of stopped talking about it. We stopped going on those Saturday hikes, and have mostly walked Brownie in the parks near our house. Whatever we witnessed that day, I think we're lucky to have made it out alive. Who knows what would have happened if we didn't get away.